Welcome, John. Thanks for taking time out your day to come on board and have this chat. I guess the best way to start, and I always like to start, is if you could just give us a bit of an intro into kind of your background, how you got in the care sector, and kind of where you are now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a pleasure to be on. So I'm a healthcare recruiter by background. Started as an agency recruiter back in 2014. Did that for about 5 years, and then sort of fell out of love with the constant telesales side of it. The business development. I've done it for 5 years. I've built a desk from nothing to very successful for managers in the south, and yeah, I just sort of fell out of love with that side of it. So I got offered an opportunity to go internally as a recruitment consultant, which was a lot lower than the level I was at. So I took that with Maria Malaband, and developed internally there. That's when I got my passion for the internal, because as the difference from sort of agency is, yes, you're a recruiter, but you're a lot more. When you're internal, when you're in the home, you're another body in the home. If you're making someone a cup of tea, you're helping the kitchen unload the delivery or anything like that. It's very different from agency recruitment, where you are sat on the phone and it's candidates' jobs. It's very different internal. So yeah, so I made the move in about 2019 to Maria Malaband. Did about 6 to 8 months as a consultant. Applied for the recruitment manager's position and was supported with that role. And since then, obviously, I've been recruitment manager at Maria Malaband, Ideal Care Homes, and now I'm the head of recruitment at Auckland Care. So I'm 2 years next month. So I'll celebrate my 2 year next month as well. So it's been a good
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. It's been a great journey. Obviously, it's seeing a lot of homes. I've done a lot with commissioning, especially with Ideal Care Homes. There was a lot of commissioning there. I think I've commissioned 4 here. We've got another 5 coming in the next 3 years as well. So it's busy growth. So yeah, that's a bit about me.
Oh no, brilliant. And yeah, no, it's good that you've found your place, kind of within the internal side, because as we discussed off camera, that kind of the recruitment piece for the growth of the care sector is fundamental. I guess if we just go back a little bit, talking about kind of Maria Malaband, Ideal Care Homes, and Oakland Care, is I guess how are the different approaches that you've found between the positions or the services, and how have you kind of found what you do to kind of get to where you need to get to, if that makes sense?
I mean, it's been very different in all 3 of them. Even though they are all 3 luxury care groups, all 3 of them are so different.
Yeah.
But Maria Malaband is huge. 90 plus homes when I was there, from Scotland down. For me, my biggest successes have always been in the south of all the regions. Even as an agency recruiter, I've always focused on the south of the country. I don't know why I'm northern born. I just seem to gel easier with the candidates. Candidates in the south, as much as they don't speak to on a train, they will pick up the phone and speak to all day. So I've sort of seen various different things, and like I say, the similar groups, but all run in different ways. I mean, for me here at Auckland Care, I mean, natural attraction, I have never seen a company have such good natural attraction. Like, I spend very little on job boards, whereas compared to Maria Malaband, we were spending, at the time, obviously, when I did it, we were spending hundreds of thousands on job boards. Still getting the same figures, but it's just weird how the market changes that much. Now, they're not shy anymore. They walk in the door with a CV, they apply direct online. They find your email address easier than what the agency recruiters do nowadays. It's a completely different market. So, yeah, I've seen a lot of changes, but, yeah, at the minute, here is natural attraction, like the branding that our marketing team have created, the reputation the company have, like, people genuinely queue up to work here. I've never seen it before in the sector.
And how, I guess, touching base on that, and that's important, right? You see kind of job boards, people, whether it's agencies or internal teams using job boards, and having, in my opinion, quite generic job adverts, which is kind of,
Yep.
with not too much thought out about what person you really want to get into your care homes, i.e., you've got skill sets and what experience is one thing, but I think personality and values and what's their real driver is, fundamentally equally as important, if not a little bit more important, especially when you're looking
Absolutely.
for residents. So what's kind of strategies have you found that work to make sure you're getting not just the skill set and the experience, but the real fundamental personality piece involved in your recruitment as well?
Well, here at Auckland, something we started doing quite early on, we do a recruitment masterclass, which is something I do alongside the L&D team, and we focus purely on values-based recruitment. Our interview questions are targeted around that, because, like you say, the adverts out there, you can go on a job board now, put healthcare assistant, and we all look the same, and it'll never change purely because you don't want to make it too specific and miss out on someone. So yeah, adverts are all the same, but it's more for us. At the beginning, we used to interview without the CV, because for us, it wasn't about the CV. As long as you bring it with your interview and we have it for your HR file, that's fine. We didn't need a CV at application. It's the person that we want. Like you say, it's the personality. So all of our interview questions are values-based around the person. We like to bring them in, as part of your interview process, sit in the bistro where residents are. First and foremost, we'll sit back and watch how are you interacting. While you're waiting for your interview, are you interacting with the people sat there? Are you sat on your phone? Are you, sat there tapping your watch because you want to leave? So it all starts from the minute we invite them in. But yeah, values-based is something that we do. And like I said, the masterclass that we've developed internally is in the process. We're in the process of putting it through City and Guilds. So we're in the process of doing that so that our HODs have that as an extra qualification, because we focus on that. But that's one of the biggest things that we've done. When I first came, it was like 20 odd questions, and it was the age old questions that weren't even relevant to anything. So with myself, the HR team, the L&D team, we've really got down to the nitty gritty of, well, what do we want? And like you said a minute ago, Josh, it's about that personality. We can train everything. We can train you to manual handling. We can train you to give meds, everything. We can't train you to be a nice person. That's something that you bought. So that's the part we look for. The rest of it, yeah, like I say, we'll train. If the role's not for you, right, we look in the business, what else is there for you? Because if you've got that right personality, we will support anybody. If they try the job for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, or even 3 days, if it's not for you, it's not for you. If you've got the right personality, we'll see what we can do. The organisation's large enough. There's enough roles within the sector or in our particular homes, where they are transferable. Hospitality, housekeeping, lifestyles. So yeah, there's lots, but yeah, it's always around the values stuff.
And is that something that you do kind of, I don't like to say entry level roles, but maybe the lower level roles up to kind of managers or maybe operations? Is the same principle across the full spectrum of jobs? Yeah.
Yeah, our values-based questions, we use the same jobs for, like you say, entry-level positions right the way through to director and CEO. We use the same values-based questions, and purely because, again, regardless of title, it's the personality that we need. Obviously, the criteria changes a little bit the higher the ladder, but
no, of course.
Yeah, but the principle's still the same.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at any of our directors, their social medias, or any of our managers, the personalities are very, very similar, which is good to see.
Yeah, no, 100%. Because I think you've got that personality, it's that can engage with residents and make their time in these homes a livable experience, an engaging experience, and that's fundamentally the job, right? If that's
Absolutely.
you can, like you said, you can learn everything else. I think that's really a really cool way to do it, is focusing more on the values, and that's really awesome. In terms of kind of going back to last month regarding obviously the wage increases, how have you guys set for that? Has it impacted you at all, or have you kind of just embraced it as a positive?
We actually sort of obviously we knew the increase was coming. Our guys have already sort of preempted that. We'd obviously I think minimum wage was 11.44, I think it was. So we said right, because we don't want to settle for that. So we went up to, I think the basic's 12 now in Auckland. And so we'd sort of taken it above what we call the real living wage. So yeah, it was there, but it's something the company have done as a thank you back to the staff.
Yeah.
As any other group, we could have put them on minimum wage, but we didn't. You know, we made sure that extra was there. And then on top of that, this year we're focusing on benefits. So we actually asked staff this year. So I've just done a roadshow. We've just said to staff, right, this is your time to speak. What benefits do you want? Here's the current benefits. What more do you want? So yeah, so there's lots of focus on that. But yeah, the pay rise was something we preempted, and it was taken well by a lot of staff.
Oh, amazing. Because yeah, you know, you got the minimum, the lower wage jobs. You know, in my opinion, they're the heartbeat of the homes, right? They are the fundamental pieces. You know, whilst it's a collective, they are the heartbeat of making everything work. So you know, you've done. Yeah, I think, you know, you're the perfect example for what I think other providers should potentially be looking to do within the care space as well. So no, that's really spot on. Love that.
It's good to see. I mean, for me, I'm still an advocate for carers. They still need more. They deserve more. Like
Yeah.
what they do is phenomenal. I take my hat off. I say this every time. Like if I worked in a care home, I'd be good at, I'd be a good activities assistant. I'm personal there, but you know, when I see what they do day in day out, you know, and then you see, without being offensive to people that stock shelves being paid £2 or £3 more. That for me it's hard to see. You know, 10 years in the sector, carers deserve, you know, way more than what they get.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. So in terms of kind of, you know, historically within the space, there's a lot of temp agency usage. I know that I believe that you guys don't use much, if any.
No.
What obviously the attraction piece to you, but there's always a need for people to maybe be a bit more flexy, or maybe bank workers, because you know everyone's got a kind of how have you managed to, I guess, achieve something that not many of them are able to achieve, really?
I've achieved it twice now, and it's not. I want to say I've achieved it. It's not my achievement. You know, it's working with the managers. It's all about that extra staffing. You know, obviously, I'm quite lucky that obviously with Auckland Care, we have the 10% buffer in every single home. So every single home is overstaffed by 10% in the areas. And you know, you mentioned bank. We also fill up on bank. You know, I've worked in homes before where they say, right, well, three carers on bank is enough. It's not. You could have 30 carers on bank. It doesn't mean they're going to pick up a shift.
Yeah.
So yeah, overloading on the bank. You know, just making sure that it's there. But then also when we put out you know a shift that needs to be covered, we incentivise that shift. You know, because at the end of the day, obviously temp has always been there, and it's an absolute godsend, especially during COVID. What a godsend it was, you know, having that relief for staff who hadn't left. So you know, we still, like I say, we don't use it as much. Obviously it's massively reduced, but like I say, we try and incentivise our own staff internally to pick up that extra. You know, whether we offer time and a half, you know, and just try and make sure that it's our own teams, you know, people that already know the residents, they know the floors, and they know the building in case of emergency as well.
Yeah, and I guess creating that environment, people want to come to work, isn't it? And you know, that's a real positive, isn't it? And I think I've moved out of temp recruitment a while back, and obviously, you know, I still think it definitely holds its purpose within the right environment and the right situation. You know, I'm not going to discredit it at all, but I think the idea of how it's operated needs to be tweaked, because you know the residents need consistency. You know, all the staffing needs consistency, and I think, you know, if you create that consistency within the home, you know, everyone's getting more out of it, and I think that creates a nicer space to live for the residents and a nicer place to work for the staffing team.
Absolutely.
So no, that's really cool. And in terms of kind of, the care sector is a difficult sector. No one's denying that, regardless,
Yeah.
staffing, funding, potentially further collaborations need to happen with different external kind of operators. But in terms of what needs to happen to get it back to being, maybe a career of choice, and people should be excited to get into this kind of career space?
I mean, it's a difficult question because it's always been there. For me, or for us at Auckland, obviously the thing we're trying to do is trying to get in front of younger people while they're still in school. And it's purely to show them. I mean, I've been to many careers fairs where you get students and parents, and the parents like, oh, no, stay away from there, it's care. And it's like, well, wait a minute. I mean, I'm quite confident I will approach people and ask why, because most of those have probably never had someone who lives in a care home, never been in a care home. They don't understand the career path. They also don't understand, obviously, the salaries and what people can achieve in regards to salaries, qualifications, the development. So it's sort of breaking down those barriers. I attended the National School Leavers event in Ascot last year with my team. We saw 15,000 students in 2 days, which was unreal. But what we did is we took what the girls call the resource annies, the resource dolls. So we took one, and we basically made a game of it with the students. And we had more students at our stand than the army did at theirs, and they had virtual reality, they had everything. And really, because there was learning as they were doing it, and it was immense. I mean, absolutely shattering at the end of it.
Yeah, no, of course.
But the amount of people we got in front of, and then when we actually spoke to them, a handful of them actually worked or volunteered in one of Maria Malaban's care homes, which was local, which was really sort of nice to see because it was a home I'd worked for. But the fact that they were doing that in their own time, they hadn't been asked to, it was just something they wanted to do, and it was nice to sort of see that. So it will change, but like I say, it's just getting into the schools. I know schools are all looking for collaborations. The hard part, I mean, I'm quite lucky that we're not commissioned at the minute, so I have time to attend these events. I'm quite lucky in that way. But I am Auckland Care, but I don't just talk about Auckland Care. I talk about a career in care. Even if it's not there's another home on your doorstep. If you're giving up a couple of days of your time, it's the same thing. So yeah, it definitely starts with the schools, getting in front of them and showing them that it can be a career. And then testimonials from our staff. I mean, the amount of staff we have in our business. I mean, we have one of our general managers who started as a bank receptionist, and then we have one who used to be a chef. So, and people don't see the connection of the two. So yeah, it's just trying to show people that you can basically achieve anything you want.
Yeah, no, 100%. I can't remember for the life of me who it was, but I saw a post the other day on LinkedIn, and someone had come in as kind of a care assistant or team leader. I can't remember exactly what role. And then I think about 8 or 10 years later, they're director of the provider. Do you know? So that's an amazing career progression.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. I mean, Joanne, our CEO, I believe she started her career in care as a carer, as a registered nurse. I mean, when I worked at Ideal Care Homes, there was a manager in York, Sophie, who started as a bank carer. Within 10 years was general manager of the home she'd commissioned. And I think at the time she was 26 when she became GM.
Yeah.
And that, for me, is just outstanding, and it's testament to her, obviously to Ideal Care Homes and the development they've given her, but it's the same here, it's if someone's got that drive and ambition,
Yeah.
the sky is the limit. If you put your hand up and you ask for anything, same here, if you want to pick up a qualification or a specialism in a certain area, we will support you 110%. And that the door's not always open as easy. We've got to sometimes kick the door.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think you can learn so much, and there's so many. Why I think it's a really cool space is, you can become a deputy, a registered manager. You can move into a regional support, regional manager, regional director, quality operations, HR. Do you know what I mean? There's so many different angles your career can go down, and I think you can, and part of, especially a lot of home managers these days, you're learning about the care side, the commercial side, the business side, the finance side. So the amount of value and knowledge you can gain by being in this career, I don't think it gets enough credit. When you kind of outside looking in, you kind of just think care is personal care, working at a care home. Do you know what I mean? And I think there's so much more. There's so much more to it once you're gonna get through the first few steps. Your career can open up to whatever way you want it to go, really, which is really powerful.
Absolutely. And like you just said, the possibilities are endless. People see it as it's a one-way street, and it's not. It's like it's something branches off into something else, and before you know it, like you say, you're at the top, and you don't. So I've spoke to many, and they say, I don't even know how I ended up here. They just don't. It was just their natural progression, and they just went on that route.
Yeah. No, amazing. And the fundamentals are the same. If you're someone who wants to help people, it's the best sector to get into.
Absolutely.
And you can make out of it exactly what you want. So no, that's really cool. How often do you what's your kind of strategy around kind of career fairs, recruitment, open days, maybe that sort of approach to kind of create further awareness to maybe the neighbouring or the nearby communities?
I haven't attended a careers fair for Oakland Care, as in the larger careers fairs, because what I tend to find is those specific ones, if it's at a football ground or wherever, people only go to it within a 10-mile radius, and if my care home's not close, the people that genuinely want to work, who are there, who have attended on that day and want to talk to you, they physically can't get to where I need them. So you mentioned open days. So when I first started here, the company had done open days in the past. Very little turnout, so I turned it on its head with a couple of the managers. In fact, this home that I'm in, Landwood Heights in Chigwell, we did the first evening recruitment at open event. So the managers gave up their time. We did it from 6 till 8 p.m. Put on coffee, cakes, and we had 22 people turn up. We made 18. We made 18 job offers, and I was absolutely astounded. Like I've never seen it like that, and it was because we'd basically made it a better time for people to attend, rather than a couple of hours during the day. If someone's on shift or they're picking up children, they can't do it. So so we've made it later, and since then, this is something that we've continued to do. With the new homes, with the more established homes, open doors. Even if people just want to come in for a nosy, they want to come and have a look, coffee and a cake, fine, because they will speak to someone to say, "Look what I've seen," and it's just that word of mouth, really.
Yeah, no, that's superb, because we find that we recruit into the care sector and to social housing. And it's with, especially the care sector, say we're looking to recruit for our home manager for somewhere. These home managers are working between 8 and 6 o'clock. So actually, how are you going to, it's important, you've got to think outside the box. Like, maybe are they free on a weekend morning or later on in the afternoon, or shall I give you a call at 7 before you start? Do you know what I mean? There's got to be, you can't, everyone still seems to work the kind of 9 to 5, but that's the core hours of when some of these people are working. So if you want to attract maybe different talent pools or new people, you're going to have to be, like you've just done, be more creative in your approach, and maybe take some more extra time out of your working day and stuff like that. But ultimately, those companies that do that are going to be better for it than those that kind of stick to their kind of core working hours. Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely, and it's like you just hit the nail on the head. Taking that little bit of time out, like you say, it's a different pool of people that come in, because the people that came in for that session, this home had never interviewed ever, and you know yourself, some people will apply for the same job 4 or 5 times and they will chance their out.